just mute your mic for a sec, mate.
I think it is muted.
I can still hear. Anyway. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of RRTV's ongoing coverage of Monday Night Lights. Here tonight, I'm your host, Alex McKellar, and joining me on board is apparently the money man, because I can't type, the Golden Stick, aka Mr. Tim Oweema. Welcome on board, Tim. I've just introduced you, Tim. Sorry, mate. You'll have to unmute your mic and come back in. I had a bit of an audio issue there. If you'd like to join us once again, Mr. Tim Oweema.
Thanks, Alex. It's good to be here tonight. Really looking forward to some good racing tonight at the COTA or Circuit of the Americas. It should be a really interesting event. A little bit low on the participation rate, but it'll be a really good race.
Yeah, absolutely, it should be. Now, apologies, folks. It looks like I'm having some network issues. I might just pause the stream for a moment, fix a couple of settings, and come back in. If you can just hold that thought for one moment, guys, we'll be right with you. Well, folks, looks like we're coming back to you again live from Circuit of the Americas. Tim Oweema and myself, Alex McKellar. Looks like I'm having some pretty dramatic frame loss here tonight, so we'll try and work our way through it, see what we can get done tonight, but looks like the stream's struggling. So anyway, Tim, we're hoping for a good night of action. Hopefully our technical issues will clear up, mate. What do you see holds in store for our drivers tonight?
Yeah, Alex. Look, it should be a really interesting race. I'm just having a look at the results as they go around at the moment. Look, very technical track. Quite a long distance. A lot of guys are not a big fan of this track, but I must admit I've driven it a couple of times. I don't mind it. It's actually quite a good layout. There should be some, I'd say, action-packed nose-to-tail racing, so it should be really good.
Yeah, hopefully it will, Tim, if we can actually get some pictures out to our audience. I'm just trying to get a few things sorted so that we can bring these pictures to our audience here tonight. Just out of interest, folks, pretty low participation series or week here for this Skip Barber series. Although tonight we do have, we nearly took out the top strength of field for the week. We're sitting at just a tick under 3,200. So once again, a great turnout by the local skippy community in support of this race. And I'm hoping that we can bring some halfway decent pictures to the folks at home, Tim.
Yeah, look, it would be good. I know we're having a bit of a network issue at the moment, but look, it'd be really good to get some images out. The M&L's a really good event to be hosting, and everyone sort of loves to participate in the M&L. And with RRTV's coverage, it always makes it a perfect race. Just looking at some early qualifying at the moment, just trying to see. Daniel Gomez looks like he might be leading the early qualifying at this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Daniel Gomez on top. Great to see Håkon Grebsted back in the field again. He's just currently sitting provisionally in second with Tim Hendrickson, who's really putting out a strong tilt in Monday Night Lights this season. He's currently sitting in provisionally in third with John Scholz, first of the Team Venom drivers here tonight, although he might be a lone soldier for Team Venom, with Kevin Henderson rounding out your top 5 at present.
Yeah, it's good to see the Venom boys in there today with Scholzy. And Scholzy's actually driving quite well in the skippies. And look, with Kevin Henderson loves a fierce race. He really likes to battle hard. Sometimes doesn't have the fortunate race of staying on the track the whole time. But look, you've got to be in it to win it. And I think this fast-paced action here will suit these guys tonight.
Yeah, that's our hope, mate, and I'm hoping that we can actually bring some pictures to the viewers. Still struggling with bandwidth at the moment. I've dropped the bitrate right down, but it's still dropping frames, unfortunately, so hopefully we'll get some on-track action tonight. Tim Hendrickson looks like he's finished his laps. John Scholz now on picture. I might put up who we're watching. Good to see Enzo Cantor out there again tonight. He said he was going to take this as a drop week, but hopefully he's obviously here tonight, looking to make another tilt at this season, and a strong one at that. Also out on track, if I'm unmistaken, is Ben Snell, who's currently leading the Monday Night Lights series on 80 points, just ahead of Darryl Ridley and Simon Dopp. I don't see Simon in the field. I'm not sure if he's aware that we actually run this sort of race on a Monday night. We often find that people look at Hawkwood on screen, just layering it up for the folks at home after completing his 2 laps, provisionally in 4th by the looks, but although it might be that he is actually in 4th. So speaking of which, we might just run through our grid. Hopefully things are going to settle down shortly. On our grid tonight, in P1 is Bill Fraser from the UK and Ireland Club, Daniel Gomez from Iberia in 2nd, Enzo Cantor, first of our regulars here in P3, Håkon Grebstad in P4, Kevin Henderson, first of the local contingent, strong performance from him tonight in P5, Tim Hendrickson surprisingly not further up the field, only qualifying in P6, John Scholz, naturalised Australia-New Zealand club member from South Africa originally, he's in P7, Cristobal Alterio Roman, I hope I pronounced that somewhere near correctly, Cristobal, in P8. Carlos Sorrentes, a returning favourite in P9. Samuel Ferro Sainz in P10. Toshimasa Hanada from the Asia Club, although that's a Japanese name, in P11. Brad Park and another local boy in P12. P13 is Isaac Olive. P14, Ignacio Pineno. Ben Snell, again, another one. Series leader currently in P15, although no, he hasn't turned terribly many laps here this week. Jason Willman, perennial favourite in P16, rounding out our field, Tim.
Yeah, what a fantastic lineup tonight. It's an interesting one. As we said, Ben Snell leading the M&L at the moment, but he's down in the 15th position. But he did admit to us that he hasn't turned a lap, so this is going to be really interesting. Bill Fraser on the pit. Oh, we're off. We're started.
We're off and away. And leading us into the first corner, of course, is Bill Fraser. He's leading this pack through. Looks like everyone's got away cleanly, although Ben Snell looks to be lagging behind. I'm not sure if he missed the start or he was just worried as we come into this tightening, difficult apex of turn 1. Looks like everyone seems to have got through cleanly there. It's an angry pack of bees, but they all got through relatively cleanly there as we try and return a bit up the front. Enzo Cantor, side by side with Håkon, takes the inside line through the first of these snaking left and right hand series of corners. And, looked like the field for the most part's got away cleanly, Tim.
Yeah, it does look like a clean race. I was looking at the guys just coming through in the later stages of the pack, and there was a little bumpity, but we were all good. It was a good start to the race, and there's nothing like that when you've got a circuit. The participation, my favourite word, participation, is down a little bit tonight, but we're going to have some good, clean racing, and up front it looks really good with Bill Fraser still leading.
Yeah, Enzo Cantor really closed up on the back of Daniel Gomez there into that tight left-hand corner there. A lot of weaving going on. Of course, if we're on the back straight now, and it's a really tight field here, and draft's going to play a massive part in this long back straight as I head down into the threshold braking turn 12 for the first time. This is really where you're going to make some positions, although having said that, they've made liar out of me and no one's really changed the order. Perhaps everyone's settling down, trying to make a little bit of a break in the early runnings, Tim.
Yeah, exactly right. With the 12 laps, first lap into it, just settle in, just get comfortable, find your position, find your braking, especially with new drivers. Some of these guys are new to this the top split tonight, and a lot of the previous drivers are just trying to find their braking markers and make sure that there's not too close of driving in the back and then hitting anyone. But look, it looks really good at the moment. They're all just holding their own, and we're looking really good.
Yeah, look, I've just ridden on board with Jason Willman, who's blown his engine at the end of that long straight, probably downshifting too quickly. And someone else lost it behind him. Isaac Olive also we caught lost it behind him. That's a really surprising one there for Jason so early on in the race. When blowing an engine like that's not easy to do so early on, Tim, but yeah, it's a bad luck for Jason and Isaac, who looked to be carrying damage at the back straight also in the pits and looks to be out of this race, Tim.
Yeah, definitely. Look, blowing the engine is something that I would do, and I'm pretty prone to doing that on a few circuits. So to do it here is actually quite surprising. Yeah, and I did see the replay and saw the spin just before that as well. So yeah, quite interesting. I'm very surprised that in the clean air that you blow your motor. So must have accidentally double shifted, done something a little bit different to what you'd normally do. That's probably caught him by surprise.
Yeah, it's a real shame for Jason, but up the front we've got Enzo Cantor putting pressure all over the back of Daniel Gomez. He's trying to get his way to the front of the field, and of course all this while Bill Fraser's out in front and he's looking to make a gap. He's already out to about 6.5 tenths. Enzo looks up the inside now, this tight left-hander once again as they head out the back straight on the mid stages of lap 2, Tim.
Yeah, exactly right. And then just looking up the front there, it looks like we're slowly starting to see the top three move away. I know Hockon's trying to hold on, but it does look like the Bill, Daniel and Enzo show at the moment. Hopefully Hockon can just hold on there and take Tim Hendrickson up with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Tim and Hawkon just sitting on the back of Enzo now. They managed to close up quite considerably up that back straight, just showing once again what draft can do in these cars. Both of them looking to be quite patient there, perhaps wondering if the battle between Enzo and Daniel Gomez might come to something and offer them some opportunities later in the race, Tim.
Yeah, exactly right. And I mean, Hockon does play a very patient role when he races. He just likes to sit back, just to look at what the field's doing, try and work out his best possible manoeuvres in the race. And same with Tim Hendrickson. But Tim likes to. He is a little bit of action-packed with Tim, so you don't know what you're going to get. So he might make a move soon and take Hockon in one of these corners coming up.
Yeah, look, he's almost outbraked himself there and done well not to run into the back of Hawkon there into the final corner. As now looks like Enzo's made the move and he's got past Daniel Gomez. Not sure if Daniel might have picked up a slowdown there. He's certainly crawling up that front straight or that start-finish straight as the others are just streeting by him there. Must have picked up a slowdown, Tim.
Yeah, must have. I didn't catch that one. It's quite interesting. But yeah, now Bill's taken the lead and he's going on. Just looking back in the field, it's good to see Ben Snell now up to 10th position. It looks like that's 5 positions he's gained, so he's actually starting to gain back a few positions.
Yeah, he's done well from the rear of the grid entirely, and he looked like he might have missed the start. And who's that racing with him there? That's Ignacio sitting in behind him, going all sorts of crazy through that snaky first section of the track. But Ben will be thankful for a bit of relief, and he's almost in the draft of Brad Parkin in front of him and looking to charge further up this field. Ben's having a sensational couple of seasons and really finding a lot of pace. I can only put his poor qualifying down to perhaps making a mistake. It's so easy to pick up incident points at this track, and of course one incident point and that'll defunct or rule out your qualifying time, and as was the case with Ben there, leave you at the rear of the grid.
Yeah, exactly right. And look, as we go back to earlier comments, he hadn't turned many laps, so just to get out there and race from where he was actually doing a fine effort. If we go back up, I'm looking at the Enzo. Oh, Enzo's gone very wide on that corner and has allowed Hocon just to come back a little bit. So Hocon and Tim have really now caught onto the back of Enzo.
Yeah, absolutely. Enzo and Hawkon and Tim Hendrickson forming quite a battle pack at the moment, all the while allowing Bill Fraser to skip away at the front. Pardon the pun, folks. He's out to nearly a 2-second lead at the moment, sitting around 1.8, and these three will want to get a wriggle on after essentially shedding Daniel Gomez from the early stages of the race.
Yeah, exactly right. And I'm just the last couple of corners, Enzo, uncharacteristically, he's taken a lot of wide corners and definitely got the 1Xs. He's got that count going up, but obviously he's pushing very hard, and he's trying to get up there as much as he can to Bill Fraser and try and gain on him as quickly as he can.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure that Enzo's quite got the pace. I mean, Bill Fraser in clean air has run, as we see Hawkon taking an outside inline there into turn one. Bill Fraser's best lap so far is a 2:27, which is a really good time around here. Whereas Enzo, sitting in second, has only managed a 2:28, full 3/10 behind. So, and that was both of them really running similar times as their last lap, or their best lap was their last lap, so to speak. So, really interesting to see if Enzo, with all this pressure on the back of him, can keep his eyes forward, see if he can't bridge the gap, or whether or not Hawkon and Tim Hendrickson behind him will look to push the pace, see if they can get past and push the pace. But as we know, Enzo drives pretty well in front. He's hard to get by, and interesting to see what these three can make of it.
Yeah, exactly right. And look, I would have thought that maybe Enzo would let Hocon take the lead a little bit and see if they can bridge the gap. But Enzo is holding his own there. He's actually doing quite well, and he's holding off Hocon and Tim Hendrickson. But yeah, they've really got to close that gap on Bill Fraser. If they let this go too long, Bill's just going to scoot away with this race. Look, very interesting. Yeah, as you said, it's about 1.8 seconds at the moment, and then back to 2.3 to Hocon and Tim Hendrickson, and then quite a fair gap back to Daniel Gomez.
Yeah, I was just watching Tim Hendrickson just keep himself amused down this excessively long back straight. Yeah, speaking of Daniel Gomez, John Skoltz now in P6, up one position for the night, putting pressure all over the back of Daniel Gomez now, who has fallen right out of that front pack, as you say, a full just over 3 seconds behind that leading pack now, with Ben Snell now. He's trying to catch up to Carlos Sorrentes, who's in a battle with Roman, and as they close out lap 4 of 12 here tonight. Great to see Carlos Sorrentes back, already up just the one position so far, but looking to put pressure and move his way further up the order.
Yeah, look, an interesting race by himself, and it's good to see him up there. He's fighting hard with Cristobal. He's looking to gain on him, and I'm just looking back at Ben. Ben's just taking a wide corner there, and he's just sitting, another 4 seconds behind Carlos. So it's just Cristobal and Carlos up there in 7th and 8th, and then they're holding that position quite comfortably.
Absolutely. It might just jump on the gyro with Hawkon now as we go up to the front. Once again, he's sitting on the tail of Enzo here as they come through this opening sector of the 5th lap, 5 of 12, folks. You can see what I mean by this snaking section of alternating left and right corners here. Got to watch out, as we saw there, Hawkon taking a bit too much of that, we call them silent cops here in Australia, folks, the bollards there that mark the apexes in the case of this track. But you can see there's not really a passing opportunity there. It's more about getting your technique solid on some difficult corners there, up over the rise as you approach this, what is down the bottom of this hill, the most important corner of the track, because of course it leads on to the longest straight, and that's the one where all your money's sort of banking on getting a good run out. Hawkon taking a nice apex. Enzo will probably got the better exit there. Hawkon probably carrying a bit too much speed. Enzo following the slow in, fast out rule, but Hawkon now well and truly in the draft, looking to make a pass, although Enzo now takes a bit more of a defensive line. Can Hawkon get the work done? Moves over to the outside for the threshold braking end of this straight at turn 12, and looks like Enzo's held Hawk-On off for another lap, but once again it's allowing Bill Fraser to skip away. He's at 3.2 second lead now at this stage, Tim.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Oh, I'm just looking now. It looks like Hawk-On is just got past Enzo. Can he hold it into the corner? That's another thing. He's tried the over and under. Has he got enough pace? Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Unfortunately, that particular corner then going back into the right hand is going to play into Enzo's favour. But Hawk-On is right on his tail and really starting to push Enzo. And maybe this is what we need in the race just to get back up to Bill. Because if they don't make a move soon, there's going to be race over.
Yeah, that's right, man. I'm just right on board with Tim Hendrickson at the back end of this this second pack, I guess you'd call it, or this bunch of leaders fighting out for the minor spots on the podium. My suggestion to you, Tim, is that Mr. Hendrickson is sort of biding his time. Look at him, he's just weaving around, trying to keep himself entertained on what is an enormous track in a skip Barber. He's, I think, towards the later stages of this race, as we move on into lap 6, halfway point at the end of this lap, he'll look to push forward. He's good mates with Hawk-On, so these two won't want to spoil each other's races, but they'll certainly both want to crack at least P2 and Enzo at the same time.
Yeah, exactly right. And I was just watching then Tim Hendrickson just do a bit of weaving up the front straight there, and I'm really wondering if he's just worried about his temperatures a little bit. He's really stuck in the draft a lot tonight, and I mean obviously temperatures are here can be quite concerning. You don't want to blow a motor. We've already seen one of those go. But look, it'd be interesting to see how it goes. I do say he's biding his time. I think there is a move there for Tim. He just doesn't quite know when to take it yet, but it'll be very interesting to the later stage of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. I hadn't considered engine temperatures, but you're right. I mean, we saw Jason Willman probably through a gear shift more than anything blow his engine on the first lap, but I'm sure the guys will be wary towards the closing stages of the race, having spent all this time in draft. Just hopping on board with John Scholz now. He's on the tail end of Daniel Gomez as they run down this extraordinarily long straight. He's looking to make a move on the inside now, and looks like Hawk-On might have just gone past Enzo as well. Yeah, he just made that move on the inside of turn 12 there. Hawk-On now looking to make the running, and John Scholz similarly made a move, but it looks like Daniel Gomez is going to come back and hold that tight right hand apex there. Yeah, not going to get a move done through there. Well done, Scholzy. That was an interesting battle there between John and Daniel Gomez, Tim.
Yeah, interesting, but just getting back onto Hawk-On, we've had some contact between Hawk-On and Enzo just going down that back straight. Hawk-On's moved in front of Enzo now, but yeah, they went side by side and touched up wheels.
Yeah, right, I'm just going back to it now. Looks like, yeah, Hawk-On has pulled in behind, trying to get the move done. Enzo taking a defensive line. We're on replay at the moment, folks. Yeah, Enzo's come back over. Hawk-On held his line. Little wheel-to-wheel contact there. I don't know if Enzo's picked up any damage, but it certainly looked like the two of them racing with elbows out tonight, Tim.
Yeah, no, definitely, and that's I think that's played a little bit. Look, it doesn't look like Enzo's got any damage, but that would have really played on his mind, especially going to this, because he's now got Tim Hendrickson behind him, going up the long straight. Tim's opting not to stay in the draft. As I said, he's weaving over from one side to another. Unsure, as I said, I don't know if he's trying to conserve engine temperatures there, or he's just playing some games with Enzo.
Yeah, could well be, mate, as they come around the front part of the track once again, heading through up over the hill back towards that vital corner as I was talking about earlier. And Hawk-On seems to have made a bit of a gap. He's at 0.8. I do wonder if Enzo's carrying a bit of damage out of that and a bit down on pace, and whether or not we'll see Tim Hendrickson make a run this time down this long straight, Tim.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm looking at Enzo's car, and it does seem to be fine. There doesn't seem to be any wing damage. There might be some side damage. I'd have to have a look, but in all, his car looks to be driving well. But yeah, Tim will now just sit on his right on the back of Enzo, and he'll just wait patiently, and he will make his move soon. I think it's all too late. They let Bill get too far in front. I think what's the gap? 5.9 seconds now. So I think that's done and dusted for the race for these guys. With Bill might just take this race out now.
Yeah, it looks like he's got away. He's out to nearly a 7-second lead. These three are now sort of racing for the minor prizes, as it were, and Bill's off to the races. So these three will be racing hard and fast. Enzo was able to catch up on that back straight, but I'm wondering if he's got a bit of bent steering, because once we hit the curvy bits and the draft is not as much in play, he's really struggling to hold on to the back of Hawkon now.
Yeah, exactly. As I said, look, the car looks fine, but you know, we're not in the we're not driving it, and there might be a little bit of damage there. And I can see Tim Hendrickson now is really starting to get on the rear of Enzo. I think there's going to be a manoeuvre in the next couple of laps here, and hopefully Enzo can hold him out. I mean, Enzo's has had a great race, but it's a shame that side-by-side contact might have just put the fright into him a little bit, and hopefully can just hold on.
Yeah, it looks like these two are going line astern again for another lap. These three, sorry. Certainly no weaving from Tim that lap, Tim Hendrickson, but perhaps he'll try to make something out of this lap. Jumping back to the last of the point scoring positions now, we've got a three-way battle here for P12 and up to P11 with Brad Parkin taking a wide entry into turn 1, Ignacio and Hanada in front of him, both sort of mixing it up there through turn 1. Great to see this three-car battle all the way back here in P11 to 13, as we were saying, and not too far in front of them is Samuel Ferro Sands, who's licking his lips at this battle behind him, because that's keeping him, oh, I beg your pardon, I've jumped one too far, that's keeping him well and truly in the points here. Of course, we score all the way down to P12 in the top 3 splits of tonight's race, although due to the somewhat disappointing popularity of this track all week, we've only got the 2 splits tonight, so there'll be plenty of points on offer, and everyone out to put on a good show regardless.
Yeah, it is a bit interesting to only see 2 splits tonight, but look, that's going to happen from round to round, and some guys like to take a drop round, and some guys like to participate every single week. But yeah, looking at that position for 12th, 13th, 12th and 11th, it's actually very close racing. It's now between Brad and I would say Toshimasa. My Japanese is probably not the best, but I'll give it a go. And so that's looking quite fine in that position there. And look, those 3 guys are racing really well.
Yeah, they're doing a great job, although it looks like Ignacio in front of Brad's carrying a bit of rear wing damage, but no doubt he'll be enjoying his run all the same. As we jump back up to our leaders now, if I can grab the right view. On board with Enzo Canton now. He's still in second there, although they've just been through a series of twisty corners now, and it looks like he's struggling to hang on through those tight corners, which again makes me wonder about his steering as they approach well, they're starting out on lap 9 or 12 now, with just the 4 laps remaining, including this one. This battle pack of 3 really settling in for the night ahead.
Yeah, definitely. As you said, going through those twisty parts, Enzo's struggling a little bit. Tim just sitting on his tail. Tim's just holding off. I can see that he's waiting for a couple of laps to go. I think he's going to wait to the second last lap, and he'll make his move. He's definitely got the pace over Enzo, and he's got the draft as they go into those straights.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to take a look at the times. You can see Bill Fraser, who's out in P1, and Hawkon, who's in P2. Bill Fraser's just clocking up the time trial laps. He's between 1 and 1.5 seconds a lap quicker in the last 3 laps that we got counted there, and that's with Hawkon in clean air. I don't know, it doesn't look like Hawkon's carrying any damage. It just looks like Bill Fraser out in front. New to the Monday Night Light series, it has to be said. It just looks like he's just clocking up the big laps, and just, I mean, here's car number 1, rated number 1 here with an I rating just shy of 6,000 at 5,800. Very talented driver, obviously, and looking to make every post a winner here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I just had to have a quick look there, and yeah, first time Monday Night Live for this season. So what a way to show yourself! Just come out and drive a great race, start to finish, and look now the gap's out to 8.4 seconds. So he's not holding back. He's really out to win this one tonight. That's a fantastic effort.
Yeah, he's dominated from start to finish. Oh, it looks like we just missed a move. Tim Hendrickson on Enzo. I'll see if I can duck back on replay and grab a look at that. No, not quite there. Let's go back and have another look. Oh, I keep getting the wrong bloke. Here we go. It's at the end of this straight. We'll hop on and see if we can't get a bit of a tighter look. Yeah, Enzo didn't hold the defensive line, and Tim took full advantage at the end of the longest straight there at turn 12. Been biding his time and then made the move stick. Well done to Tim there.
Yeah, definitely. And now, look, he's just starting to put some gaps on Enzo. This is a really interesting. I think Tim held his time just a little bit too long. He really needed to stay with Hulk on as much as he could. And as soon as he got past Enzo, he's just put on a little bit of a gap now. Might get out of the draft in the straight. I think Enzo's just got enough to stay in the draft, though.
Well, look, he's almost out to a second now. It looks like Tim Hendrickson's made his move at the right time with just the balance of 3 laps remaining now as they S through those first series of corners once again on the start of lap 10. He's had the pace not only to stick with Hawk on but to gap Enzo. He's now at 1.2, so once again I'd say that damage has really taken a big part in Enzo's night tonight, and the race seems to be on between our two international mates, the Netherlands and the Norwegian in Håkon and Tim. This is see how cars 2 and 5 tonight can battle out for those minor positions on the podium.
Yeah, look, it'll be really interesting. And look, just an interesting fact for all the viewers out there tonight, for the Dutch people. The Circuit of Americas is used every Tuesday night to ride your push bikes around. The Dutch really love riding their push bikes around. So he'd be feeling at home here tonight.
Well, Timmy, Mr. Hendrickson, next time you get a chance and you're over in the States, mate, bring your treadly with you. Make sure you reach out here for the open night here and ride the bike around, my friend. Daniel Gomez, if I can jump back. No, it seems like I'm stuck on Tim for the moment. This battle, luckily, oh no, we've managed to get onto Daniel now. He's in a tight battle here with Enzo now. Enzo really dropping back through the field. He's struggling, and it looks like he might struggle to hold on to the position he's in at the moment, which is P14.
Yeah, look, I've just got him in now, and I don't know what's happened to Enzo. I don't know if he's just... He didn't have that much damage, and it looks like he's just lost a bit of confidence going into this later end of the races. I don't know if he's just trying to hang on, but Daniel's going to get him here with 2 laps to go. I think we've got he's really closing the gap, and if John Scholz can just stay on the back there, he might have a chance to take Enzo as well.
Well, Daniel, of course, our early front runner up there with Bill Fraser and the other leaders. He's now fighting back with a labouring Enzo Cantor. When he gets this Enzo taking a defensive line in turn 1, Daniel following him. It'll be who can go furthest over to the left. Enzo now opening up the line to the corner. Daniel moving out commensurately. 2 guys come into turn 1. Daniel gets that move done. Enzo looking to crisscross, but unfortunately it compromises the speed out of that corner and allows Daniel to take the next apex for this section as they approach the S's once again on lap 11. Enzo all over the back of Daniel now, and Scholzi behind him looking to take every advantage that he can, Tim.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be an interesting race for the minor positions. I think these two, if Enzo and Daniel just battle on, Scholzi's going to have a chance. He might get up there. I'm just looking back now from Scholzi's view. No, looking from Daniel, he's really just driving hard, and it'll be interesting to see this final part. I think Enzo's just really struggling at the moment, and you wouldn't want to lose too many more positions.
Yeah, look, he seems to be doing all right in the draft as they head through that very, very important turn 11 onto the back straight. Now, Enzo in draft is okay. He's able to stick right on the tail of Daniel, and John Scholes behind them is just inside draft range, although the draft that Enzo's receiving at the moment is just getting him ahead a little bit as as Enzo pokes his nose in front there, but Daniel holds the inside line there into turn 12. Enzo trying to get it done around the outside of turn 12, runs a bit wide and unable to get it done. As we jump back up ahead to Tim Hendrickson, putting pressure all over the back of Hawthorn through this difficult left and right hand section of the track through 13, 14, 15, approaching that sweeping series. It's actually a series of 3 corners here, 16, 17, 18 on the tail end of lap 11 now. And Tim Hendrickson, I think, showing a lot of patience here tonight, and although he won't take out the victory here tonight, I'm sure he's looking to make every post a winner in terms of his race for P2, Tim.
Yeah, exactly right. Patience and Tim Hendrickson sometimes don't quite go together, but he's actually putting in a really good effort tonight. Just hanging with Hocon, I think he'll make his move on the next straight if he can. It seems that Hocon just drove that last section just a little bit better than Tim. Tim gains on the back section of the track quite well, so it'll be really interesting to see if he can hold on to him with 1 lap to go.
Yeah, that's right. I think Tim once again biding his time, just sort of, and Hawthorn not really succumbing to the pressure at this stage. They both know that the move will be into turn 12 at the end of that long straight. So both of them just being patient, hoping the other makes a mistake before then that they can capitalise on. But certainly doesn't look like it's going to happen at this stage. Jumping quickly back to that battle between Gomez, Scholz and Cantor. Looks like Daniel Gomez has cleared out there, and now Scholz is all over the back of Enzo, hunting him down for the final position in the top 5, Tim. So looks like Scholz might be odds on for a good result for Team Venom tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Like Scholz's been driving well lately, and look, if he can get this position, that'll do really well for his confidence, especially driving a car with pink wheels.
We've just lost Enzo. I'm guessing that he's hit his incident limit at 17. It's so easy to pick up incident points here, folks, and I think he's out for the night. Retiring potentially with either network issues. Don't we know about those tonight, folks? And or running out of incident points. As Tim Hendrickson now, he's right in the back of Hawthorn on the back of this run down to turn 12. Hawthorn taking a slightly defensive line. But to be honest, he's left the door open into turn 12 on the hope, or in the hope, I should say, that he'll have the inside to turn 13. Although Tim's got that done and then immediately takes a defensive line to hold him off. It'll be tough to see Hawthorn get by at this stage of the race. Jumping ahead to Bill Fraser as he approaches the final runs into the closing stage of this lap. A fantastic drive from Bill Fraser tonight around that sweeping right-hander of three corners, as we were describing before, coming down to the closing stages now. Just the 2 corners left to run from Bill Fraser. What a fantastic drive from our top-rated driver tonight. He takes out his maiden race in the Monday Night Lights, rounding the final corner now to take it out. Well done to Bill Fraser. We'll quickly jump back and see what's happening with our 2nd and 3rd place getters tonight. Tim Hendrickson holding off a really hard-charging Hawthorn Grebstad tonight, and to take out a well-deserved spot on the podium with Tim Hendrickson in 2nd and Hawthorn in 3rd. Daniel Gomez, after leading very early, has come home in 4th with John Scholz, as we said, rounding out your top 5 for the evening as the stragglers to come across, Tim.
Yeah, look, it was a great finish to the race, and while you were on board with Bill Fraser, I was just watching Tim and Hocon come around in their final corners. Tim taking a very strategic 1X, just a little bit wide. I don't know if it was strategic. He did run wide, and that really held off Hocon as they came into the last couple of corners, but a fantastic race.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic race. Just on board with Jason Willman, who'll be our last finisher tonight on the lead lap, with Enzo retiring, unfortunately, due to that excess of incident points by the looks. Kevin Henderson, we missed the incident with Kevin, but he's also retired. And Isaac Olive, who we saw early on in the night, he had to pit and leave the race as well, which is a real shame for him. Jason Willman now just rounding out his closing lap to finish in P13, just out of the points, which is bad luck for Jason Willman, who, along with Kevin Henderson, has been at damn nearly every Monday Night Light race in the 12-season history. So congratulations to both Kevin and Jason. We really do appreciate their support as he rounds out his race. Now, while he does that, I suppose I really shouldn't post the results until then, but once again, folks, I'll apologise for the network issues we've had tonight. We've dropped a bunch of frames. I've had to drop the quality of the images, so thank you for sticking with us. No doubt the ISP will be receiving some harsh words from me in the morning, but I've had some dropouts this week, and certainly the network performance tonight has been absolutely garbage. So now that Jason's made his way across the end there, why don't we take a look at our results tonight. Bill Fraser, as we said, made a fantastic entry into the Monday Night Lights series, taking out his maiden event, led all laps on pole, and set what looks to be the fastest lap of the race. Congratulations to Bill. Tim Hendrickson and Håkon Grebstad rounding out your podium after fighting race long and putting on a fantastic show. Daniel Gomez in P4 after setting the early running in that front pack behind Bill Fraser, but looked like he picked up a slowdown at some point and was unable to recover from there, although he did pretty well to get back up to P4, it must be said. John Scholz, first of the naturalised Australian New Zealand Club members, at least in P5. Congratulations to John on what I believe might be his best result in Monday Night Lights to date. Cristobal Otero Roman in P6. Ben Snell made a fantastic run of it tonight after starting in 15th on the grid, second last, up 8 positions into P7, securing some more Monday Night Lights points. Pardon me, apparently Siri likes what I said there. Carlos Sorrentes in P8. Welcome return to Carlos. Hopefully we'll see more of him in the remainder of the season. Samuel Ferro Sanz in P9. Toshimasa Hanada in P10. Ignacio Pineno, I beg your pardon, in P11. Brad Parkin in P12 in the final of our point scoring positions tonight. P13, as we said, was Jason Willman. Just outside the points, Enzo Cantor, Kevin Henderson and Isaac Olive. Our retirements this evening, all for different reasons, as it turns out, Tim.
Yeah, look, it was a great race tonight, and I really enjoyed it. It was action-packed. It's a shame from Bill. Bill just drove away from everyone, and that 2:26, a second, just over a second faster than his competition. That makes for an amazing drive. Really impressed by that. But the rest of the race, what a fantastic race.
Yeah, it was a fantastic race, as you say. Amazing to see those battles up front. Shame we couldn't get them as in clearer pictures as I would have liked, but that's life, unfortunately. But certainly the drivers out there today put on a fantastic show, and in what was a pretty quiet week for the Skip Barber series in the official sense, it's great to see that the Monday Night Lights gets this continuing support from the drivers. Now, Tim, I've got another Tim in the booth. Below us here, Mr. Hendrickson, who of course finished second tonight. We'll bring him up and say g'day as soon as I get my replay sorted. We'll go and say g'day. Mr. Hendrickson, Alex McKellar here in the RRTV commentary booth, mate. Congratulations on another great race. Looked like the action was pretty hot out there tonight. How did you find it?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy, especially as I just switched to my new wheel and was faster than I expected. But yeah, I mean, most of the race I just sat back and waited for action, really.
Yeah, we were talking about that during the broadcast, mate. That we saw you doing a fair bit of weaving on the back straight, either to keep yourself awake or your engine cool, and certainly commented throughout that you were potentially just biding your time, and that seemed to be the case. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit frustrating though. The people, I mean, the racing wasn't as good as I hoped it would be. I expected more from some people, a bit cleaner maybe, but other than that, yeah, it was good.
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, there was the odd incident or two around, but on the whole, it was pretty clean, I thought. But congratulations again to you, mate. It was a good race for you up front, and certainly another good result in Monday Night Lights, mate. But do you put much of it down to the wheel, or was that just a bonus?
Oh no! I mean, I'm still getting used to it. I mean, especially the brake pedal. It's very difficult to adapt, but I'm slowly getting it. So that's good.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, I'll hand you over to the Golden Stig to see what he's got for you.
Oh.
We're going to start off by saying congratulations on the second position, mate. That was a really good drive. I was watching that drive, and you just hung back there. And I thought you were going to make your move a little bit earlier on Håkon and Enzo, but you just held out perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, I made my move on Enzo the moment I thought I could get away with Håkon. So I just chucked it up the inside, and he just fell back after that.
Yeah, no, that was really good. And look, the second thing we have to ask, we had fun facts tonight at Circuit of the Americas, and they say that they like to ride their push bikes around here every Tuesday night. Now, being a Dutchman, do you have your push bike?
I've got a push bike. Yes, I didn't drive it today.
No, very good. So the next time you're at the Circuit of Americas, you can be riding around on a Tuesday night. You can ride the whole track on your push bike.
Oh, that's great. I might just hop over to America on a very, very long plane flight and then hop on my bike. Sounds great.
Well, there you go, folks. I'd like to see that, I'm sure. But thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us here again tonight, Tim. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Actually, yes. You remember that fella that was in the commentary box a week ago, Mr. Timmy Goldcrotchy? He said he'd like this track. Where the hell is he?
Well, you're right. He did say he liked this track, but he decided basketball was a better offer tonight. So,
oh, come on.
Yeah, I know, right? So not only is he ditched us on track, but he's gone to try another sport. But the man mountain that he is, I'm sure he's having a good time anyway, mate. But congratulations again.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll see you back again next week.
Bye-bye.
There you have it, folks. Our podium sitter in P2, Mr. Tim Hendrickson, enjoying his run by the sounds of it and his new equipment, Tim. So I might bring up our other podium sitter, or at least our third place getter, Mr. Håkon Grebstedt. I'm not sure if we had Håkon here before, so we'll be interested to see what he's got to say. Mr. Grebstedt, welcome to the RRTV commentary booth. Alex McKellar here, mate. Looks like it was an interesting race up there for you tonight, mate. Congratulations on P3. How did it shape up for you?
Oh, hey, Alex. Yeah, it went all right. Had a few, tough holes with Enzo, but overall it worked out.
Yeah, mate, it looked like at one point had a bit of contact. I watched it on the replay, and as best as I could tell, Enzo took a defensive line. You were side by side, and he moved over like you'd gone to the sort of standard turn-in point, but you looked to hold your line and a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. Is that how it took place?
Yeah, well, we had a similar case the lap before where, I moved over because I saw him coming, but the second time I wasn't having it. I was staying on my line.
Yeah.
So we made contact.
Yeah, that's right. There's no inherent requirement for you to move back over. It's like, I mean, you can fit 12 skippies down the straight at this place side by side. But yeah, look, it's a legit tactic, and unfortunately, I mean, incidents like that do occur. It's a shame. And do you know, Enzo, I think might have hit his incident limit and disconnected. Do you know if that's the case? And do you know if he picked up any damage in either one of those incidents?
I believe it is the case that he did get too many incident points. He was, he was getting quite a few in front of me before our incident. I was getting quite a few myself, which kind of made me having to play it safe on the later laps. But no damage on my end anyway.
Yeah, look, it's pretty easy to pick up those incident points here. So, and I know certainly even in the other configurations, I saw a few of the top runners in the 2K Cup go out with incident points as well, and I think they've even got extras. So, look, it's a tough track from that perspective. So it makes your podium position all the more sweet, mate. I'll hand you over now to Mr. Timmy Awima to see what creative questions he's got lined up for you.
Yeah, nothing too creative tonight for Håkon because he doesn't have a push bike and he's not Dutch and he's not going to ride around the track. But I noticed in the last couple of laps, mate, you had quite a you got around Enzo, and it looked like you got a quick little gap on Tim Hendrickson, but he reeled you back in. Was that playing on you? Did you think he was going to get you at the end, or do you think you could hold him off?
I was definitely trying to hold him off, but then again, I had to, with all the incident points racking up, I had to play it safe, right? So I had to stay within the track limits, and
Yeah,
I definitely lost a bit of time, not taking the strategic off tracks and stuff. But,
yeah, I did notice. I did notice towards the end. I think it might have been in the second last corner. Looks like Tim Hendrickson did take a strategic 1x. I'll say that because I can only see it from the replay. But I was unsure if he just didn't quite brake hard enough, or he was trying to go a bit wide to keep the speed to hold on to second.
Oh yeah, no, I think that was intentional. But it's all good, fun and games.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously he's trying to hold on to that second position. So, no, it was a great race by you tonight. And it was really good watching you, especially with that battle with Enzo. Made for some really good racing.
Yeah, congratulations, Hawkeye, mate. Sorry to cut you off there. Look, well done on P2 tonight, mate. Is there anyone you'd like to give a oh, beg your pardon, P3. You're right, I haven't got it on my screen. I can see it. A bit flustered here tonight. We've had all sorts of network issues, which has been dramatic. But is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go tonight, mate?
Oh, well, you guys for doing it, and congratulations to Bill and Tim for first and second.
Excellent, thanks, mate. Don't thank me too quick until you see the replay, mate. But we'll see how we go.
I'm sure it's
all right, mate. Well, thanks again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.
Yeah, cheers.
All right, one final interview for the night, folks, before we end what has been an eventful evening from a broadcasting perspective. I'll bring up Ben Snell for a bit of a chat. Ben Snell, Alex McKellar here, mate, in the RRTV commentary booth, our current series leader after 3 rounds of the event, coming into round 4. Tell us, mate, what happened in qualification? You're right up the back there and had to charge through the field, mate. How did your race shape up?
Oh, it was horrible. Don't try and learn COTA while you're racing it.
I've heard that. Yeah, so starting at the back tonight, fought your way back pretty well, it has to be said, under those conditions. Up 8 spots, well into the points in P7. I imagine, given the other results tonight, that you will probably hang on to that top position, because I've got the second split results in front of me. Thank you, Mr. Peck. And none of the... Simon Dopp, who was in P3, has finished all the way down in P15 out of the points in the second split. And Dale Ridley didn't come tonight, and Enzo, of course, was out during this race, and Brad Park, and he's not going to secure enough points either. So, look, mate, still at the top of the pops, and sitting pretty in the championship so far to date.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Default. I like it.
That's it, mate. Look, yeah, look, your form of late's been outstanding. I'd say for the last sort of season and a half, you've really been setting the track on fire. Have you made any specific changes to your setup or your style that's led to this upturn in form, mate?
No, it's just being a little bit more basic, not trying to overdrive the car. I kind of learnt that you got to kind of settle yourself down, and once you figure that out, it kind of flows together.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, I'll hand you over to our resident commentator this evening, the Golden Stig, and see if he's got any other questions for you.
Yeah, just a quick one, Ben. I know you said just before you started you hadn't turned any laps, and you're turning them through the race. I noticed there you ended up with 14 incident points. Was that really playing on your mind during this race tonight?
Not overly, because all numbers are just numbers. As long as I could finish the race, that was the main thing. But it was just trying to figure out where I could actually run off the track, which was everywhere apparently.
It definitely is everywhere if you'd like to get some incident points. I mean, you weren't the only one up high in the incident points. Hock-on, Tim Hendrickson was. We had Enzo who disconnected. So, yeah.
He had too many.
Yeah, so everyone's trying to push the limits a little bit, but when you're trying to learn the track, it is quite hard to know where to go off and how far you can push the boundaries.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal, I can tell you that much.
That's it. All right, mate. Well, thanks again for joining us here, not only in the booth but on track tonight in what's been a pretty quiet week in the Skippies. So, a reasonable haul of points for you tonight in official terms, and probably not so much, but certainly the Monday Night Lights keeping you on top, mate. We wish you all the best for the remainder of the season, and we hope to see you next week.
Thank you very much. Cheers, guys.
Well, there you have it. That was some of our drivers and our interviews tonight. Tim, just jumping back to the results for a moment now. I've got... Who have you got for your driver of the night? That's my question I'm looking for.
Oh, geez. Driver of the night has to be Bill Fraser. Look, I know he led from the start, but that was just an outstanding performance. Setting 226s without draft just showed his form tonight and his real performance as a Skippy driver. Yeah,
I'd go along with that. Led from flag to flag, fastest lap, pole position. You can't do much more than that, really, can you? And then to have such a big lead, he had 11.8, just shy of 11.8 second lead at the end over Tim Hendrickson, who is no slouch, it has to be said. We give him a lot of stick in the orange and blue car, but he is very quick. So to see someone like Bill Fraser come out and just dominate the race the way he did, leaving our series regulars fighting for scraps literally behind him, was remarkably impressive. Also impressed once again with Ben Snell, who we just spoke to then, folks, who charged through 8 positions in a field that was still pretty strong, second highest of the week at 31.95. Not the strongest field you'll ever see by any means, but certainly no mean feat to charge through and gain 8 positions in that field. Oh, apologies, folks. We've just run to the end of that server, so back live now for what it's worth. Yeah, so I'd agree with you, Tim, 100%. Bill Fraser for driver of the night for mine, with a close second to Ben Snell. Now, that might actually wind up our broadcast, sad as it might have been this week, folks. Tim, aka the Golden Stig, you can find him, of course, over on Twitch, streaming at Robius_TV. What have you got coming up this week, Tim?
Coming up this week, well, I've been looking at the races that we can do, and I think I'm going to try and fit in the NIMSA. We're going to do a bit of the VRS series, but we're definitely back on for Friday night for the FNRC guys, and Friday and Saturday, and Sunday for the last man standing.
Beautiful, yeah. Similar for me, folks. Friday night streaming over at the Top Split TV, doing the Friday night race club and the Saturday night version of that. Plus maybe a race or two to get back into the skips during the week. But most importantly, from my perspective, folks, you can check out the latest episode, long overdue as it is, of the Top Split podcast. Just head over to thetopsplit.com or just search for The Top Split on iTunes or your favourite podcatcher. Check out my chat with the head honcho of the Friday Night Race Club, Mr. Brian Sheridan, or Shero as we know him. I know he's in chat tonight. G'day, Shero. We had a great chat, really enjoyed talking with Shero, and we talked about all things Friday Night Race Club and a little bit beyond that and what it can mean to folks on and off the track. So enjoyed that one. Bit of a musical flavour at the end as well. As for RRTV, folks, this week, plenty of action if you'd like to come back and join. Bernie will be running the show from Wednesday night with a bit of ASL Speedway. Fantastic dirt racing there on a Wednesday night. On Thursday will be a bit of NASCAR, the ANZ car, the ANZ car, Thursday Night Thunder, round 10 from Bristol this week, starting at around 8:40 p.m. for that coverage. And of course on Friday night, the round 13 now at the Snetterton 200 layout for the Australian Online Supercar Championships. That coverage kicks off at about 9:15 and is always a great event. The V8s around Snetterton, Timmy, how'd you like to take on those beasts around there? Around the 200 layout too, the smaller one.
Geez, I struggled trying to take it down a 400-metre straight, let alone going around a corner. What an absolute thriller that'll be.
Yeah, look, there's some great drivers in that series, and most of them know how to fang those cars around there. Very challenging cars at a very challenging circuit. So plenty to look forward to this week on RRTV, and I'd like to give a big shout out to everyone in the chat tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. I do apologise for our network issues, unavoidable and something that I'll be chasing up, but hopefully we'll be back bigger and better next week. So thank you once again, everyone, for joining us here tonight for the Monday Night Lights. Look forward to seeing you next week. And until then, on behalf of Tim Awema, I've been your host, Alex McKellar, and I will say ciao for now.